Pitch. Stickler gives that one a drive deep to left field. Away back. It's gone. Logan Stickler's second grand slam of the ball game. 8 RBIs. And the Americans take a 14-8 lead here at Dunn Field. Good hitters count here for Ganschow. 2-0. Pitch from Hoshide. Misses way up and outside. And Harris will get to third. There goes Harris for home. Harris takes off the play at the plate. He's in there. David Harris goes 180 feet and makes it a 7-1 game. It'll be a 2-2 from Slattery. Pitch. That one's hit into center. Jesmondi coming on. He dives. He makes the catch. Derek Jesmondi. What a play in center. The 2-2 from Orcutt. In there. Called strike 3. Orcutt is fired up. Gets off the mound. Keeps this game 1-0. Americans lead. Orcutt leaves the bases loaded. Count 3-1. Pitch. Fastball bounced up the middle. Gladfelter fields on the backhand. Slides, pops, throws. Got him. What a play from Justin Gladfelter. Throws out Nick Spanner for the second out of the inning. Robs him of a base hit and an RBI. A couple times now. Deals. The runner's going for the Americans. A hit and run is on. That one's through the right side. A base hit. Here comes Favada. He'll score without a throw. Weiss goes from first to third. It's an RBI single for Anthony Savino on a picture-perfect hit and run for the Americans. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bases are loaded. Lerner on the mound against Castro. Pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Jackson Lerner, a big strikeout. Live free or die. He wins the battle of the New Hampshire natives. There goes Brock off first. Sabella's throw down. Looks like it's in time. Tagged by Glasscock. Got him. A frozen rope from Michael Sabella. Throws out Evan Brock trying to steal second base. Count 0-1 against Munakata. Branch's pitch. Line to the right side and through for a base hit. Stickler scores. Here comes Savino. The throw in from Reyna is not in time. Savino scores. It's a huge 2-out, 2-run single for Ryutaro Munakata. Gives the Americans a 6-2 lead here against the number 1 seeded Batavia Muck Dogs. Following a day off due to poor air quality, the Niagara Falls Americans are back in action tonight, this time across the border in St. Catharines, Ontario, against the Niagara Ironbacks. For the 5th time at George Taylor Field and the 8th time overall this season, the Americans and Ironbacks will square off in a perfect game Collegiate Baseball League West Division matchup. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the American Sports Network. Alongside Ethan Duncan, I'm Tom Rook. Ethan, a big matchup coming up for the Americans tonight after winning 3 in a row, trying to keep this winning streak alive. 250 years ago today, our founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence, setting our nation on a path to freedom. This evening, the Niagara Falls Americans suit up in red, white, and blue to play America's greatest pastime. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sal Magley Stadium in Niagara Falls, New York, as we get set for a matchup between 2 Can USA-owned ball clubs, the Niagara Falls Americans and the Batavia Muck Dogs. Alongside Ethan Duncan, I'm Tom Rook. Welcome to the American Sports Network. Shank at second. 1 stolen bag on the year. Gladfelter at first. Really good speed. 21 steals this summer. Count 0-2. Weiss at the plate against Page. Here's the pitch. Outside. Gets by the catcher Garcia. Shank will head to third. Gladfelter to second. Now the Americans have runners in scoring position with nobody out.
Only 4th wild pitch so far from Page, and now double play ball is now eliminated, and now even larger spot for Weiss as a ground ball can tie this ball game up.
So count is 1-2. Weiss at the plate batting from the right side. Muck Dogs playing the middle back. Corners in. Page now out of the windup. Deals to Weiss. Fastball skied foul out of play. Page loves that high heater when he's ahead in the count. Went to it right there. Now you could see that 12-6 playing off the heater in the dirt. See if Weiss takes it or chases like some other Americans have this evening. Page out of the windup. Here's the 1-2. There's the 12-6, and it lands right in the zone. Didn't go to it in the dirt, but landed the curveball on the outside corner to sit down Weiss for out number 1. That'll bring up David Harris.
I was just about to say, Tom, the Americans have struggled with, in big pressure situations, just taking the pitch right down the zone and going out looking. We saw that with Marcotte a couple days ago as Weiss comes down, but it brings up David Harris, who certainly can do some damage.
Yeah, that's a really deadly combo that Page is working tonight. The high fastball with that curveball, 12-6. Harris at the plate. First pitch outside, missing. 1-0 with the fastball. Dave Harris been about as consistent as you can be. Just like the sun, rising and setting every day. David Harris showing up every day at the ballpark, getting multiple hits for the Americans, it seems. Here's the 1-0. Harris lines that one down the left field line for strike number 1.
Harris grounded out to second his last time up. You know they could probably score one if it's not hit that sharp.
Harris riding a 13-game hitting streak. Looking for hit number 1 tonight. Batting .470 this summer. Here's the 1-1 from Page. Curveball, line to right field, a base hit. Here comes Shank, he will score. Gladfelter gonna run through a stop sign at third. The play at home is cut off, and Gladfelter scores. It's 2-1 Americans lead here in the bottom of the third.
We've seen Gladfelter make base running errors past couple of games. Certainly didn't make one there. Safe by a mile. Good play from Gladfelter, and Harris gets a 2-run single. We talked about him not getting a lot of RBIs. Only had 5 prior to that, now up to 7, and that batting average will go up as well.
So Harris extends his hitting streak to 14 games, and that'll bring up Dominic Zangardi. 1 out in the inning. Pitch. Zangardi chops it up the middle. Fielded by Vasquez. He slips. It's over his head. Now Harris heads to third. He'll stop right there. Ball trickles into center, so an E6 for the Muck Dogs shortstop, and runners at the corners now for the Americans with 1 out in the inning. A huge break for the red, white, and blue. Looked like a tailor-made at least 6-4 put out, maybe even a double play.
Super tough play there from Vasquez. We talked about his prowess hitting. He made a great play earlier in this game, Tom, but so far in seven games played, already has 3 errors. Now it'll be 4, and that's a huge one. Now runners at the corners, still only 1 out.
That'll bring up Logan Stickler. 2 hits last night, 2 grand slams on Sunday. Pick off the first, Zangardi back in time. Almost caught him off guard. Good speed on the bases for the Americans. Stickler can put something in the gap. Good chance it'll score 2 runs. Zangardi off first, Harris off third. Page out of the stretch, deals to Stickler a fastball in there. Called strike 1.
Stickler walked to follow Zangardi's double for the strikeouts in order. They weren't really giving Page that inside strike call against Stickler. That's the main reason why he walked.
Stickler up to 294 on the summer, a 405 on base percentage, 2 homers, 13 RBIs. Pitch in the dirt, a good block back there from Garcia. Evens up the count at 1. Stickler, as of late, been on fire, like I mentioned. Now 5 multi-hit games in a row. 2 hits last night. 12 RBIs in his last 3 games as he takes upstairs. 2-1. Also 2 walks for Stickler last night, so when he's not hitting, he's able to get on base at a high clip as well. 2-1, 1 out in the inning. Pitch from Page. Fastball. Stickler drives that one out to left field. It'll got a job done. Caught by Ramos. Harris going to tag from third. The throw in is cut off by Monell, so Stickler gets an RBI on the sacrifice fly. He does the job, and the Americans take a 3-1 lead. Back here at George Taylor Field in St. Catharines, Ontario, the Americans lead 1-0 over the Niagara Ironbacks, and in steps Adam Weiss here against the right-hander and Raphael Smith. Weiss getting the start at first base tonight for the red, white, and blue. Tossed a couple innings on the mound as well this year. Skies that one out down the right field line. Going to be a long run for Gallo. Chasing after it. He won't get there. Strike number 1. Weiss this year hitting .264, 14 RBIs, 5 for his last 13, riding a 4-game hitting streak. Also got an RBI in 3 straight, does Weiss. Been swinging the bat well as of late during this offensive explosion for the red, white, and blue. 10-plus runs in their last 3 games, and they've won all 3. Count 0-1. Smith out of the windup, deals to Weiss. Up and out, misses, now 1-1.
Weiss had that tough game a couple days ago, had 2 errors, but that really has been his only blemish defensively. Besides that, you could argue he's one of the best defensive catchers, defensive first baseman in the whole league.
Here's the 1-1 from Smith. Fastball, Weiss fouls it off down the right field line. Weiss, a guy that hits with a closed stance, looks to drive the ball the other way on pitches on the outer half of the plate. When pitchers bust him in, he's usually ready to turn on the ball, but looking to hit it the other way. Count is 1-2. Pitch from Smith. Fastball up and out. Misses now 2-2. Weiss hitting .303 here in the month of July. 10 for 33 compared to .231 in June. Here's the 2-2. Smith misses with the curveball upstairs. So now full count. Weiss's best traits is working a lot of walks. See if he can get that here against Smith. 3-2 pitch. Bounce up the middle. Stop by Smith. Throws on to first for out number 1. A heck of a play by Raphael Smith to rob Adam Weiss of a base hit up the middle. Playing defense for himself out there.
Unlucky for Weiss. We've talked about how he's able to draw walks, but on pitches in the zone, he's usually able to drive it. I want a hard liner right to the glove. I think that one probably would have gotten up the middle for a single, but huge first out. So it brings up Evan Shank. We talked about it in right field, and certainly the highest in the lineup we've seen in a while, Tom.
Pitch, outside corner, gets the call. Strike number 1. Yeah, Shank getting slid up a little bit in the order. Playing right field tonight for the Americans. Here's the 0-1. Shank swings and misses, now 0-2. Shank out of Cortland, New York. Played first base, third base this year, but getting the first start in right field tonight. First start in the outfield as a whole. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Raphael Smith blows a fastball by Shank. Back-to-back pitches for out number 2.
Shank behind those fastballs there. This will bring up Savino. Looking to go in order here, 1, 2, 3 after a couple walks and a hit.
Not out of the ordinary for Shank to get slid out there in the outfield. Spent time in left and right in 2026 at Tompkins Cortland Community College, as that'll bring up Anthony Savino. Pitch, curveball alone out, missing 1-0. Savino been a big part of this offensive explosion for the Americans. He's got a hit in 5 of his last 6 games after having only 1 hit in the previous 6. Pitch, a curveball. That one's a hanger. For strike 1, now 1-1. Savino, an RBI in 3 of his last 4. Been really driving in runs as of late for the red, white, and blue. Here's the 1-1. Curveball inside corner. A really nice spot from Smith. Kind of got Savino to back off the plate and land it right in there on the inside corner. Now 1-2.
Yeah, it's really mowing down this middle of the order here.
Smith way ahead. Savino batting from the right side. Here's the 1-2. Fastball fouled off. Good fight from Savino. But a good change of speeds right there from Raphael Smith. Smith really working that curveball fastball combo, playing off of each other very well so far tonight, fooling the hitters here in the top of the second. 1-2, fastball up and away, misses. A good spot right there, kind of changed the eye level for Savino. As if I had to place a bet, this one's going to be a curveball on the inner half again.
Yeah, we've seen Smith and Kroll both use the fastball here, looking for the payoff.
Misses inside. So now that'll load the count full. Savino fighting, will choke up on the bat, get into his defensive swing, try to put the ball in play for the Americans. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Smith out of the windup. He deals. Curveball line to the right side, fielded by Griffin on a couple hops. He'll go to first and make the 3rd out of the inning. So the Americans go down in order 1, 2, 3, and we're headed to the bottom of the 2nd here in St. Catharines, Ontario. Americans 1, Ironbacks nothing.